What if I told you that your morning routine has nothing on a Roman gladiator's daily grind? While you're hitting snooze, these ancient warriors were already enduring grueling training sessions that tested the limits of body and mind. Today, we are stepping into the sandals of a man once known as Marcus, a seasoned gladiator in 75 AD Rome, to experience 24 hours that could shape his fate. The pre-dawn darkness still blankets the gladiator barracks when he jolts awake. No alarm clocks here, just the ingrained survival instinct honed over countless drills and arena clashes. The wooden bunk creaks as he sits up and immediately checks his body for any lingering pain from yesterday's training. His calloused hands probe the fresh bruises on his ribs as muffled sounds stir from the barracks beyond his private door. He holds one of the few private rooms spared for the best, walls granted not for comfort, but for rank, a privilege earned by blood, and the constant reminder of the distance between himself and the rest. To the world, he is not Marcus. That name belonged to a man who once knew freedom. In the arena, he is known only by the moniker given him by his lanista, Vulkrus, the breaker of men. The crowd does not cheer for Marcus. They scream for blood. They scream for Vulkrus. The barracks smell of sweat, leather, and tension. 20 men packed into a space meant for half that number. Each one a walking weapon, forged through months or years of relentless conditioning. Vulkrus has lived here for 2 years now, long enough to understand that survival depends on discipline, mental sharpness, and never showing weakness, not to his fellow gladiators, nor to the guards who monitor them like livestock. As the first rays of sunlight pierce through the barred windows, a guard's voice booms through the corridor.
1 hour, dogs! Then blood-stained sand!
Vulkrus knows the rhythm well. He splashes cold water on his face from a communal basin, the shock waking his senses. Breakfast is simple but strategic. Barley porridge mixed with beans, olive oil, and on rare days, dried meat. The gladiator diet is tailored for strength and stamina, not taste. The training yard soon comes alive under the watchful eye of the lanista, owner and trainer of the ludus, and all who reside within. The lanista surveys his human investments with the calculation of a man managing prized racehorses. Dead gladiators bring no return, but neither do unfit ones who cannot thrill the crowd. The lanista's voice cracks across the yard, sharp and unforgiving.
Move like ox, die like ox. Speed earns coin, slowness earns grave.
Vulkrus grabs his wooden sword and shield. These are training weapons, intentionally heavier than the real thing, to build endurance. The morning drills are brutal. Endless repetitions of attack patterns, footwork, and defensive postures. Every movement must become second nature because in the arena, a single hesitation can end a career or a life. Vulkrus knows this truth all too well. The thought whispers through his mind as he moves. Blade forgets nothing, neither does sand. As the sun climbs higher, their training intensifies and the clash of wood on wood echoes across the yard. Gladiators are paired off for sparring under the sharp-eyed supervision of the Doctore, a former gladiator himself. Today, Vulkrus is matched with a newer recruit, a Germanic tribesman who is still adapting to Roman technique. These sessions may be fierce, but they are not meant to kill. Still, accidents do happen. A split lip here, a cracked rib there. Yes, Vulkrus has seen it all. And the Lanista offers no coddling. But worry not, the ludus does employ skilled medics. Gladiators are expensive investments after all, and their health is a matter of profit and prestige. By midday, under the unforgiving Mediterranean sun, the fighters break for their main meal. It's hearty: bread, legumes, vegetables, sometimes even meat. Better food than many Roman citizens eat, but with a heavy cost. Every bite reminds them they are being fed for spectacle. Conversations remain cautious. Deep bonds are discouraged. After all, today's sparring partner could one day be a sanctioned opponent, especially if fighters are loaned out to other schools. The afternoon brings focused weapon training. Vulkrus, a Murmillo, wears a heavy helmet and wields the gladius and scutum. He strikes a wooden post over and over, working to perfect every blow, while enduring the weight of 40 pounds of armor. Technique, balance, and breath control are everything. Inside, his thoughts are as sharp as his blade, each movement reinforcing the same lesson. To know a man is to unmake him first there. As evening nears, the physical drills end, but the psychological tension does not. Gladiators oil their skin, care for their bruises, and engage in the quiet mind games of a world where hierarchy, favoritism, and gossip matter just as much as skill. Rumors swirl. Which fighters will be selected for the next Munera or public games? Who's gained the favor of the crowd? Who might earn the wooden sword of freedom, the rudis? The day's drills leave Vulkrus streaked with sweat, dust, and blood. Not all of it his. As the sun dips low, the Lanista gives a nod. Vulkrus is dismissed first, a courtesy granted only to the primus palus, the top-ranked fighter of the ludus. It's a station earned through victories, survival, and unspoken loyalty. He's sent to the medicus before bathing, a man with steady hands and a face carved from marble. Vulkrus stands quietly as the physician inspects him. A gash along the forearm, several bruised ribs, and a cracked knuckle. The wounds are not severe, but they are many. Vinegar is poured with practiced ease, the sting met without a single flinch. Honey follows on the deeper cuts, and bandages are pulled tight to keep the flesh from splitting, all while no words are exchanged. From the medicus, he steps into the baths. The caldario greets him with rising steam and the slow hiss of water on stone. For a few minutes, he is not Vulkrus, not a warrior, not a weapon, just flesh, aching and scalded clean. A few of the younger fighters enter, speaking in hushed tones, always keeping their distance. As primus palus, Vulkrus commands quiet respect and perhaps a little fear. One offers a nod, another dares a question about technique. He answers with a gesture, not words. He scrapes grit from his skin with a worn bronze strigil and watches the clouds of vapor curl toward the ceiling. The heat loosens tight muscle and heavier thoughts. In this place, the world fades for a while. Only then does he rise from the soothing water, clean, patched, bound, and whole enough to continue. The scent of food now reaches him from down the corridor. His meal awaits. Dinner offers a momentary reprieve. Fatigue loosens tongues and Vulkrus swaps guarded stories with his peers. He mentions his homeland and his sister, careful to reveal little that could be used against him. Vulnerability is currency here and not one easily spent. As night descends, the men return to the barracks. Some pray, some sharpen blades, others stare at the ceiling, wrestling with fate. Vulkrus, once a free man, can read and write, though the words he puts to parchment for sister, for gods, even for himself, are never sent. But still, the ritual remains, a quiet act of remembrance, of hope, of defiance. And on this night, he writes, "If these words find light, know your brother yet breathes, yet bleeds, yet dreams of hearth once warm." Sleep comes fitfully. The barracks hum with whispered prayers, the sounds of restless limbs, and the occasional cries from dreams, echoes of combat or memories of lives lost long ago. This cycle repeats endlessly, broken only by the arena. And there, before roaring crowds and blood-soaked sand, destiny is decided. The life of a gladiator isn't about glory. It's a brutal balancing act between survival and spectacle, between body and will. For Vulkrus, life is not lived, it is endured, blade to bone, day to day, and still he rises. If this tale stirred something within, leave your mark upon the stone. Speak in the open forum, offer tribute with a like, and bind yourself to the cause with subscription. Let it be known you stand among us, and be ready, for another day shall dawn, and with it another fight,